Hey guys, so I want this video to be all about the babies and the mamas and the toddlers and even the small children. But first, I'm going to tell you that my hair is super greasy because, oh my gosh, because I am trying out, I'm kind of experimenting with some like a hair oil treatment with essential oils. They're all over the internet. I mean, I know people, all my friends have used them. I just haven't tried them myself. So before doing a video about it, I wanted to be able to use it and kind of give you my experience and then give you kind of the consensus from what I read all over the place of the best things to use. So yeah, that's why my hair is pulled back and has an extra coat of coconut oil grease on it. There you go. Okay, so basics for babies. We'll start really quick, just overview of basics with essential oils, because honestly, you guys, what you do for yourself, you're gonna do for your babies and your children, and even your pets in some cases, in most cases actually. So the biggest thing is you always wanna start low and slow, okay? If it's something you've never tried before, it's something that you just want to start with a small amount and go slowly. You don't want to do that slow amount 10 times a day or every single day for, 30 days or whatever. Like, just start slowly, see how things go, and then add from there. Okay, so that's the idea of low and slow, which I'll use in many times that I talk about things. So, the other thing to consider is not everything is going to be good for sensitive skin. So you think anything in this spice line, so if you use it as a spice in your food, that's what I mean for spice. So cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, peppermint, oregano, any of those things can be irritating to the skin. And then of course, remember, our babies and our children have much more sensitive skin than we do, so you have to be really gentle and really careful with those things. The next thing that I'm going to say is what we read on the internet is very broad, very vague, very general. General and vague, I don't know if that can be the same thing, but basically there's so much out there that has to do with low quality essential oils. So the whole scheme of essential oils, the world of essential oils, I guess you could say, is very, very broad range of quality. So you have something that's really not even considered essential oil. It's more like made in a lab but labeled as essential oil, all the way up to what we use, which is nothing else added, like literally so much plant material squeezed out, pressure added, and steam distilled in order to get those tiny little perfect molecules out into a very, very concentrated bottle of liquid. Okay, so you have this huge range of things. So just remember, if you want to research, which I always recommend, you do your own research and you feel comfortable with what you're using, no matter what I say, just do the research yourself. Please do not just listen to blogs. Like, when I say research, like, really research the companies, really research where stuff came from. And honestly, in my opinion, from what you guys have seen and heard from me, is being at the farms and talking to the distillers and talking to people who are at different farms, not just Young Living, like distillation companies that distill for many different companies, like essential oil companies all over the country, all over the world actually. When you talk to them and you really break down like who does what, and you hear straight from them what these companies pay for, which is like the sludge of essential oils, and then versus what Young Living pays for. And this is people saying this not knowing that I have any association with Young Living whatsoever, okay? So that's what I mean by, like, do your research and see who you feel good with, that kind of thing. But from my opinion and from my experience, Young Living is by far the best. Like, you have some okay companies, and then you have Young Living that's like way above here. So the reason I'm saying this, once again, because I say it a lot, is when we're talking about babies, I mean, you really, really got to pay attention to what you're using. And when you find things on the internet that says like this whole list of don't use this, don't use this, don't use this, same thing with cats, okay? You can find this huge list of saying like, oh my God, your cat is gonna die if you use this, okay? Like scary, scary thoughts, okay? 99.9% of that stuff comes from somebody who was using really low quality stuff, or somebody who's being really just not using common sense, okay? So out of the way, got that stuff. Use high quality, it matters. It's really, really, really disheartening and sickening, disgusting to think what is put into baby products and labeled as safe because it has just small amounts of things that are carcinogenic or could lead to developmental issues. Because it has such a small amount, it's approved as safe, okay? Like, why do we have to have any of that stuff at all? We don't. We just use our own stuff. We know that it's straight from plants, and we're gonna use it in a good way. So here are the common sense things with, maybe not common sense, I shouldn't say that, but here are the things that we know are really good ways to use for ourselves and our children. And that is, you always want to dilute in the beginning. So talking about low and slow. With babies, there are ratios. We're talking about infants and up. In the first 1 to 2 days of your baby's life, baby outside of the womb, that's when you have to be very, very particular. And I would only stick to maybe like frankincense and lavender in a very diluted amount, say like 1 drop to 30 to 50 drops of a carrier oil. But then after that, there's this huge list of essential oils you can basically use. Literally, guys, you can basically use anything that you use on yourself. The biggest difference is you're gonna dilute it 1 to 20, 30, or 50 drops, just depending on your preference, okay? So if you wanna start with diluting just 1 drop of essential oil to 50 drops of carrier oil, go for it. Or if you want to start with 1 drop of essential oil and 30 drops of carrier oil, go for it. And then you can always add more of the essential oil depending on how you feel that it's working and how the body is reacting to it. So you're going to dilute well first and just enjoy it. Think of things like lavender, frankincense, copaiba, peace and calming, stress away. So many good things. You can avoid the spicy stuff altogether. Just if you feel more comfortable, avoid it altogether. Otherwise, just add a little at a time and dilute it properly. So things like peppermint, eucalyptus, wintergreen. These are things that you definitely don't want straight. You have to have them diluted because they can be spicy still. But these are things that if used in large amounts, meaning like basically the whole bottle by itself, but used in large amounts, there is a small chance that it can affect the baby's respiratory system because they're still developing their respiratory system. They don't have the same breathing patterns that we do. So if you're going to be using those things, I recommend using them down on the feet or on the spine and never up by the face. As your baby gets a little older, I'm talking like maybe 3 months or so, you can easily use chest rubs diluted to the right amounts. And there are dilution charts that I can send to you guys if you'd like. And there are places on the bottom of the baby's foot. It's called the Vitaflex points that are just a really good chart for using and where to put essential oils. But basically just remember, put it where it hurts. We don't always know where it hurts with the baby, but if say you have a colicky baby, you can always massage on the bottom of the feet. Anything, honestly, we say put it where it hurts, but if you don't know, put it on the bottom of the feet, okay? So if there's tummy issues, you can massage in a clockwise pattern, I guess is the right way to say that, on the stomach with things like Digize, okay? You can, or even Tummy Jize, which is already diluted for kids, For babies, you would just dilute it a little bit more. Digize, you start with one drop of Digize and 30 drops of carrier oil. You can massage it on. So the biggest thing is that you just want to start with diluting, okay? Don't be scared to use these things on your children. These are plant products. If we really want to be scared, we have to look at the stuff that's in baby products that we use and feel comfortable using for some reason on a regular basis. I think I've told you guys that I used to use Johnson & Johnson lavender baby powder. I would sprinkle it in my daughter's room before she was born, like while I was pregnant with her, sprinkle it in the nursery and then vacuum it up because I just loved the smell of it and I just always wanted it around me. This was before I started paying attention to things that were in products. And then once I became aware, holy crap, the stuff that they get away with. And even in the natural stuff, it's stuff that's like labeled natural, safe and non-toxic or whatever. If it says perfume or fragrance or any other generic term, like stay far away because they can hide up to 3,000 other ingredients into that term. It's like an umbrella term and they don't have to disclose what it is at all. So if they're not gonna disclose exactly what it is, they're gonna say fragrance or perfume, then just don't use it. I mean, that's my opinion. Okay, so diffusing. If you want to diffuse with your baby, and I'm talking infant on up, when you start out, you're just gonna do 1 to 2 drops of essential oil. And if your essential oils, if your blends or anything that you're using is gonna have anything like peppermint, wintergreen, eucalyptus, think of the breathing oils, the ones that really open up the airways. Think of like Vicks Vapor Rub, right? If you're gonna be using those, you definitely just want to do maybe 1 drop and keep it in a big room and make sure that there's a lot of air circulation in that room. You're not gonna have it right next to the baby. And you're not gonna have it for a long period of time next to the baby in a closed room. Okay, so that would kind of be what I would think like a common sense thing, which maybe isn't common sense. I'm not trying to be like offend anybody if that's not common sense to you, but really the problems that come from these articles that have, warnings about essential oils, it's when somebody has a diffuser right next to a baby pumping out some really strong essential oils. And honestly, I hope that nobody puts anything strong next to a baby at all. I mean, think of the candles and the Lysol that gets sprayed right next to a baby. Like all of that stuff we should be keeping away. I do not put essential oils and those chemicals in the same category. However, we try to keep things as natural and pure around our child as possible. And we allow their bodies to do what they're supposed to be doing. Honestly, they shouldn't be needing anything strong next to them. Hopefully your baby is not having strong issues that they need strong oils like that. If they are sick, you can definitely make up some blends and add to coconut oil or lotion. Make sure it's a natural lotion, and massage on the bottom of the feet and legs and give them a nice all over body massage. Okay, so I've got recipes that I can send you guys. There's so much out there, so just if you need specifics, please tell me. Otherwise, I would bombard you guys with just stuff all the time. But there's charts, there's recipes, all kinds of stuff. So on up, as the kid gets older, as your baby gets older, you can increase the amount of essential oil that's in your blends that you're making. So if you have a 5-year-old, you could even do 5 drops of essential oil to, I guess that would be a 1-to-10 ratio, 1 drop of essential oil to 10 drops of your carrier oil, and then you can just use it intuitively. Okay, so we never want to put straight oils on our babies or our children. We always want to dilute, and we even dilute with ourselves, because when we use the word dilute, it's actually not diluting its efficacy. It's just allowing the body to absorb it at a slower rate and not be straight on the skin when the skin can have like an irritated reaction to it. So don't be scared about using essential oils on your babies. I was scared and I wish that I wasn't. It's actually not until I had my second child that I really started to use my oils on them. I was already using them on myself. And I really wish that I would have started sooner, because I probably would have gotten more sleep and I probably would have had a lot less chemicals around them, because it affects behavior, it affects hormones and developmental things and brain things, right? Like all the scientific word things. So use your oils, dilute, don't diffuse too strongly, too close, or too long. And please ask me any questions if you need any specifics. And that's it. I hope that this was helpful for you guys, and let me know if you need anything else.